Drew Allar, Mansoor Delane, and Deion Burks go underneath the microscope from the eye in the sky as we break down their games next on Watch the Tape Wednesday.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting with the Draft Network, in 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. It's Watch the Tape Wednesday, guys. You know, we started last week and probably 2 weeks ago for this football season. We're taking guys that just played in college football, watching the tape, talk about their performance. We're getting into Drew Allar, Penn State quarterback. What did he do in week 2? Mansoor Delane continues to shine and impress in that LSU secondary. And then Deion Burks. Is he the next wide receiver to go in the first round out of Oklahoma? But before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use freely across the app. Drew Allar, Keith, we kind of closed the show a little bit talking about him yesterday and kind of the stock down type of situation with the quarterbacks. He's come off a game against FIU. 19 to 33, 57.6% completion percentage, 200 yards passing, yards per attempt was 6 yards per attempt, 2 passing touchdowns. Didn't put the ball in harm's way, no turnover worthy plays or anything like that. But it was, for me in this game, what I took away from it, I watched both week 1 and week 2. So overall, the things I'll give him green marks for, checks for, improved mechanics. His mechanics, especially in week 1, mechanics were clean across the board. Accuracy was there. He is beginning to play more on rhythm and on time and in rhythm of the offense. And it's not so much, hey, I'm going to just hold the ball to the very last second, rip it. He not exactly the same way he did it in 2024. I give him credit for those things. I feel like the decision-making has been better, not putting the ball in harm's way, not testing bad windows with multiple defenders, different things of that nature, and not like putting the ball at risk and turning the ball over. Now, mechanics, it's still inconsistent. He missed some easy throws in that game. Now, some of it, and I'll add even some more context, he's got 3 new wide receivers on this team. Trevor Pena, Kyron Hudson, and I think it's Devontae Ross from Troy. So USC, Troy, and then Syracuse. And no Tyler Warren. They still got the run game with Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen. I feel like some stuff, and even like in the first game, he had it was like a 7-stop, deep 7-stop to Trevor Pena, and he got it out on time. Trevor Pena he didn't run the route he didn't run it quick enough, and he also didn't run it well. And you saw the timing issue. Even though Kyron Hudson had a good game in week 1, you still saw some timing things with these receivers. And I'm like, all right, hopefully for y'all, you got this figured out by week 4 when you see Penn State. I mean, you see Oregon when they come in, hopefully you got this timing down right by then, because that is a team that's going to stress you. So I think for me, when I took away from it it's just if I would have graded the past 2 weeks, or the 2 weeks for Drew Allar, I give Drew Allar a C+, over the first 2 weeks of the season. Just a little inconsistent, but I understand some stuff, timing and rhythm, and he's still trying to figure out that mechanic situation. He's got a long season ahead of him, but he's got to clean some of that stuff up.
Yeah, DP, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens without Tyler Warren for Drew Allar, because he was so much of a blanket / locomotive, right? And in a sense, we know that quarterback is the most important position on the field. But you feel like with this Penn State offense, especially the last couple of years, Drew Allar had an opportunity to be the 3rd most important person, meaning that it could be Tyler Warren, Nicholas Singleton, or well, I'll say Tyler Warren, the run game, the combination of Nicholas Singleton and Kaytron Allen, and then Drew Allar. And Penn State could win some football games, right? The way that this roster is currently constructed, it feels as though without Tyler Warren, obviously he's elevated to 2, or he has to be the number one guy. And I want to see what Drew Allar does from that perspective. Like I say, I how do I feel about opening games, right? And doing the cupcake situation. By week
Mhm.
2, if I was a head coach, I would want to play a real team, right? I don't want any of
Same.
these kind of, I don't call them false wins, but I don't want any wins to where I'm setting up false hope for my team to think that we can get away with some of these situations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I still want to see Drew Allar play quicker, right? Like that quick twitch. And we talked about it, right? Like his footwork. And you talked about the mechanics, but we also talk about like him being heavy footed too.
Yeah.
We want everything to be snappy and like the pace to quick up the pickup of it, like progression 1, 2, 3, ball out, right? Like I want to
Yep.
be able to see those things from him. So I look at Drew, and that's why we did the QB ranking show yesterday. It dropped because thus far I don't want to see more of the same that I've seen the past few years.
Mhm.
I want to see something elevated, and part of it has to do with athletic ability, and then part of it has to do with the mental process and getting the ball out quick. Because, like you said, he's protecting the football, but when you look at this overall arching thing, for one, some people saying you could be a top 10 pick, right? And
Yep.
then two, leading Penn State to where they further than where they were last year, you're going to have to play better. Like that's just point blank. Or you're going to probably get similar results. Like you'll probably skate in because you looked at their schedule, DP, they have 2 tough opponents. They got Ohio State, they got Oregon. So you're looking at 2 losses, potentially could be 2 losses. You got 2 tough tests, but okay, cool. You have 2 losses. Can you still get in the playoffs? And then now are you traveling to a Texas, or you traveling to one of these teams and you have the opening round game?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I think with the with Aller and I think he's, to me, when I was watching him on film, it felt like a guy that slimmed down a little bit. I was like, did he lose a little weight? Because like he
Mm-hmm.
was the weight when he was running, he had a little bit more juice to him, a little bit
Okay.
more quickness, a little bit more snap with it with his just out of the pocket. Now is he still kind of heavy footed? Yeah, he's like 6'5", still probably 230, 240. So I don't expect that to go anywhere anytime soon, Keith. Like, to be completely honest, I don't. But I would say that, with him, it's just more so, all right, can you give me enough? Like, the quick game I've seen him get better at. But again, it's more so, can you be consistent with it? From not even game to game, snap to snap, drive to drive. Can you be consistent where I'm not questioning, all right, fourth quarter, can we run the same? Can we run these quick concepts? And I know you're going to hit them, or is it still going to be kind of up in the air for him? Those are the things that has to improve for him. And I think as he gets comfortable with these receivers, knowing when they break and them knowing each other, things like that, I think that's going to be a big thing. Like, it's not, because at the same time, these receivers are new to this offense where he
Yeah,
knows the
it's a lot.
offense,
There's a lot of cohesiveness that's trying
a
to
lot of
come together.
moving parts for them. They do have, and we brought up like Tyler Warren. I was watching the game. He didn't start, but he was, I think they're leading receiver in this game. And it was I think he's a freshman tight end or redshirt sophomore, maybe. Luke Reynolds, 6'4", 250. He was, caught 7 to 9 targets for 58 yards. And I was watching him. I was like, man, they got another one? Like, I'm like, all right. Like, he's not draft eligible yet, but the way he moves and runs routes, yeah, he's going to be somebody we talk about if they keep feeding him the ball over the next 2 to 3 seasons, because the kid's talented. You know what I mean? And I think he's kind of that big wide receiver build and everything. But like, in terms of him and like Tyler Warren, he might be a better route runner right now than Tyler Warren was last year. Like, this young man know how to run routes. So I was like,
No, I think it was a whip route that he
yes,
ran in the middle of the field, and it was
yep.
impressive.
I was like, okay, so I see the movement skills with him, and now it's just like I said, Trevor Pena, Devonta Ross, Kyron Hudson, Drew Allar. Y'all got to get on the same page. And Drew, you just got to stay very much clean with your mechanics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not because what he did a lot of narrow base stuff and standing straight up in the. It was now I call it what it is. It was a lot of arm arrogance last year. I don't want to see none of that this. No, let me preface it. I want to see arm arrogance with good mechanics. I want to see you rip throws and be cocky with the arm when your mechanics are clean, because I know that you're going to accurately put the ball where it's supposed to be.
Yep, 100%. With DP, let's do this, man. We are going to Bayou Country, DBU, the LSU. If you could sound, I'm a little biased. You know what I'm saying? When we
A
talk
little,
about this,
a little.
we are talking about transfer corner. This young man went to Virginia Tech, transferred to DB. He is at LSU now, and he is making plays. We're talking about cornerback Mansoor Delane. We'll talk about him coming up next.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Because right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use across the app freely. Again, new customers can bet just $5. $5 only, guys. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to freely use across the app on things like player props, building your same game parlay, or even jumping into the live action as it unfolds. So the question that I have for you next is, so are you ready to play? If you are, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first bet. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Do you need parts fast for that project you're working on? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Keith, LSU might be, I don't think they've called themselves DBU in a long time. I know they call themselves wide receiver U.
Well, yeah. Well, so what happened was we were the original DBU, right? And then everybody started stealing the DBU name, like Ohio State and Alabama. So you know what we did? We decided we was gonna be innovative, and we changed it to the Brotherhood, right? We had to switch it up some. So then we went with the Brotherhood. Yeah. So all we're doing is just being trendsetters out here, DP. That's all.
I got you. Well, Keith, I think y'all have another one in terms of Mansoor Delane. Like you talk about transfer from Virginia Tech to LSU, and this young man, talking about hitting the ground running. Like I would say this, like with Jamad McCoy, soon to be, from what I was told, he should be back
week 4, right?
Yeah, like week 3, 4, like week 4, I believe. Week 4 or 5. They're hoping he's back by the end of this month, into September, from the torn ACL he tore in January. But I think Mansoor Delane, and I know we both love Avion Terrell over at Clemson. This to me, this has been the best performance of any DB in the country over the first 2 weeks of the season. What he did against Clemson, albeit like could they have looked different if he was facing if that defense had faced Antonio Williams and how they scheme him open and stuff like that, maybe. But he got hurt, right, against the 4- and 5-star kids. His wisdom and experience shined in terms of Mansoor Delane. Over 2 weeks, he's been targeted 12 times. He's allowed 2 catches for 25 yards. He's got an interception and some PBUs. Like, he is playing great, whether it's man coverage, zone, off. Like, his instincts are off the chart. He's reading everything well and fast and processing. He's squeezing guys to the sideline. He's not letting you get over the top of him. Like, he's technically, he's been sound. This young man is playing, to me, he's playing himself into that CB1 spot for the 2026 NFL draft. Because when to open the season out the way he did on the road, he was one of the guys I told you, like that crowd was loud. Those LSU players, they came out in bunches. So when they came out, every time you saw a new group of LSU guys, Clemson's crowd got louder and louder with their boos. He was one of the guys, I think Aaron Anderson was as well, who loved the environment. Like, they embraced the environment. He's
You
out
know,
there
DP, you know what the quote
talking.
is, right? The quote is walk in your trap, take over your
Take
trap.
over your trap. Correct. So, which they did. You know what I mean? So, I'm really looking forward to, because I think, I'm gonna pull up LSU schedule real quick, Keith.
Got Florida
Like,
this week, I think.
Florida's coming off a bad loss to darn
Yeah.
USF. So you got Florida, then you got southeastern Louisiana. So no worry about that. Mississippi State will be an interesting one because they have legit speed
Is
at
it at
receiver.
Mississippi State?
Yeah, it's at Mississippi State. Hey, shout out to the schedule makers. Mississippi State got some big games that's at home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah.
don't have to leave. Like,
Give
y'all
him a
come to
shot.
the
Give him a
crib.
shot to win.
Yeah, come to the crib. Then he got to go against South Carolina and big Nick Harbor and everything. Texas A&M with KC Concepcion, Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. He returns from, I think he's got concussion in week 11. You got
DP, I
Arkansas,
don't know. We not
Oklahoma.
the Alabama situation. We can't talk
Yeah,
about it the
hey,
same,
listen,
right? Even
it's not the
was it
same.
Alabama Willie?
It ain't the same, but they got those receivers over there, so he's gonna be tested. If Todd Simpson can get the ball out, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. But yeah, I think he's playing some of the best ball, if not the best ball at corner for the draft in the country.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. And I guess let's start at the very beginning, right? In this age of the transfer portal, we watch these guys and we kind of grade the transfer, right? Like, was that a good decision for you, right? Like, we go to, we talked about Nico and we was like, was that the best decision to go there, right? But you look at Mansoor Delane, and just to the listeners who was the first time hearing about him, he was a draft prospect last year. He was draft eligible last year. He was a guy that everybody talked about. Mansoor and his teammate Dorian Strong, right?
Strong, yep.
Mansoor came out as the higher graded guy, but when I watched the film, DP, there were a lot of technical things they had to clean up, right? And obviously, my experience working with the DBs at LSU and things like that, there were a lot of details that I seen. I'm like, this guy has to clean this up. I seen the physical tools, the quick twitch, the explosiveness,
fluid
the
hips, all that.
But I'm like, in man to man, you're going to consistently get beat because you're not technically sound. Transfer to LSU. First of all, great decision. At LSU, we had a phrase, right? We had a phrase. In C-Ray, we trust. Who is C-Ray? That's defensive back coach Corey Raymond, the guy responsible for the Patrick Petersons, the Morris Claibornes. He's coached so many of these guys, the Derek Stingley, Christian Fultons, right? I could keep going down the list. You went to a guy that has a proven track record of playing man. I'm gonna show you how to play man. LSU has historically played man defense, and I think you're seeing that pay off. You're seeing a combination of a high caliber athlete with a coach that's gonna coach the details, and now we're getting this result. So I'm excited for it, and I think you can say this cornerback class, DP, has been somewhat like the running back class, where it's fun because we're still emerging on who the dudes are going to be, right? Like, and we have a preseason notion, and you talked about it, Jamal McCoy, right? But we still have to see him come off of an ACL. And the Tennessee film was really good. I say good, but it wasn't the Stingleys, Surtans, right? It wasn't like hands down without a doubt he's going to be CB1. So that's fun for us because that leaves the door open for us to have these engaging conversations about who's the best cornerback in college football.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited for Jamal to come back, because his natural playmaking, the speed, his instincts, and everything else that he showcased. It's like, this guy has a complete package to develop. He just needs that last year of ball to do it again and prove that he can do it again. And right now, like Mansoor, he's like, even with Avion Terrell, like he has more size on him, things of that nature. He can match up with different receivers, and he showcased that through the first 2 weeks of the season. And like I said, he's got a nice little gauntlet of receivers, whether it's different size, speed, athletic traits that he's going to match up with throughout the rest of the season. Again, I mean, heck, the final game of the year, Oklahoma on the road, going to Oklahoma. Who's he going to see? Deion Burks. So it's like, John Mateer's going to sling it out there. He's going to give you a chance, as a receiver, and also he'll give you a chance as a DB to make a play. And I think that's going to be a big time moment for him as well. If Mansoor keeps this up, Keith, I don't think there's a chance he doesn't go round one. And if all 32 teams let him play at this level for the entire season, he's probably test well, athletic and everything, and he still falls out of round one, all right, guys, you got it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what else you look for.
Yeah. I'll tell you one of the DB I'm interested to get eyes back on, and I'll probably have to wait until the Oregon game.
Mhm.
Davidson Igbunison. Because
Oh yeah,
a
yeah,
high
from
caliber athlete, but was a
Ohio
guy that
State.
was extremely raw and needed to clean up his man to man technique. I'm interested to
Yeah,
see how he looks too. But DP, I like that conversation about Mansoor. You went on and stamped it right. This guy has opportunity to be a first round cornerback prospect. I agree, but let's do this, man. Let's talk about the playmaker, man, Mr. Deion Burks. And if you watched that Oklahoma Michigan game this past Saturday, you heard his name early and often.
and
So we're
often.
about to talk about Deion Burks coming up next.
Mazda crafts cars for those who simply do more than just move. Mazda delivers confidence with every single ride, with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same exact intention to how we craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything, but from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with the utter confidence needed through almost any season and weather. So, like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen to day and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Watch the tape for Oklahoma wide receiver Deion Burks,
Oh
Keith.
yeah, I'm coming in hot.
I'm,
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna give you the
Okay.
floor, man. Talk about it.
DP last year, right? We
Mm-hmm.
talked about Matthew Golden, and I
Yep.
told the people, and then you backed me up on it, and you said, you know what? This is the guy to watch. I told the people, this is the guy to watch. He can be a first round prospect. I'm gonna say this with Deion Burks. He can be a first round prospect without a doubt. This is the guy to push your chips in the middle of the table for and say, you know what, I'm going to buy low and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be able to sell high come draft time. The
Yep.
explosiveness, the quick twitch, the vertical ability, the playmaking, the ball tracking. This guy checks all of the boxes. People are going to say he's too small. I think Deion Burks is one of those people that defy the size, right? And we were sitting on the sideline together when we watched Tank Dell, and we said it doesn't matter. They can't get hands on him. The
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Browns, right? Through all the off the field stuff. Antonio Brown was 5'9", one of the best wide receivers of
Of
this
all
past
time.
decade. Deion Burks has that it factor. No matter if he was 5'9", if he was 6'3", he has the it factor. This is a playmaker. Deion Burks will finish as one of the best wide receivers in his class. He has a quarterback to get him the football now. I'm excited for him.
Same. I mean, 5'9", 190 pounds, explosive, twitchy, can run routes. He separates, but he's also got that dog in him. Like he's tough
He
as
pit
well.
bull.
And that first game against Illinois State, that one-handed grab on the sideline where John Mateer had a free runner in his
Mm-hmm.
face. He lobs it up. It's over the right shoulder, the outside shoulder. He couldn't get two hands up. He got one hand, snagged it, got 2 feet in, and went out of bounds. I was just like, Deion Burks is locked in. Like that was, I didn't need to see no more. I was like, okay, he's locked in. And then you see him against Michigan, and I think he might have had a drop in that game. He could have an even bigger game, as we talked about on Monday's show. If Mateer gets a little more arc
Layers
on
the
a couple
ball,
of
yeah.
those, yeah, he layers and not try to just speed it. Like he's out there like 100-mile-per-hour pitcher. Like, nah, big
Mm-hmm.
dog, let me get that slotted, get some air underneath that. He does that. This young man, Deion Burks, probably walks out there legitimately 200 yards. Like,
Yep.
and I mean, he had wrong one. He was, for him, he had 101 yards in that game.
Yeah, it was over
Yes,
100.
yeah.
Yep.
He 12 targets though, and you know what I mean. 12 targets, 101
They're gonna
yards,
feed him the rock, DP. They gonna feed
bro.
him the football. This is and you talk about those years because it was a couple wide receivers, right? Obviously, CD Lamb came out of there, but remember like the Hollywood Browns and those guys who was like they had that run. Man, what's the other? is it Kenny Steele? Kenny Steele came out of
He
there.
still came out of there. Yep.
Sterling
Yep.
Shepard came out of
Yes.
there. Where they
I
had
forgot
that
about
run
Sterling.
of those like 5'10", 5'11" wide receivers that were just like vertically stretching the football field. The heyday of modern Oklahoma, right? Like we're not talking about the Barry Switzer Oklahoma, but the heyday of when they had Lincoln Riley, right? Like that type of situation. I think Deion can be that DP. And going deeper into this draft class and in comparisons, remember we did the wide receiver scouting, right? And I don't know if you felt the same way, but it felt like we had about 8 wide receivers that were 5'9", 5'10", 175 to
It felt like it.
185 pounds, right? And it
Felt
was
like
like,
it, yeah.
oh, it's a lot, right? We had the guy at Florida, Eric Singleton, who transferred from Georgia Tech to Auburn.
Auburn, yep.
Yep. And then we have the guy who's at Georgia Tech right now. And I'm blanking on his name.
It's Eric Rivers, and there's another one.
Eric Rivers, and they have 2 of them. Georgia Tech have 2 of them.
Yep.
And we're actually missing a couple of them. But as we get through this season, DP, the cream is starting to rise to the top. And of those smaller wide receivers, like my 3 guys that I'm like, I like them a lot, is Deion Burks, Zachariah Branch, Aaron Anderson. That's my 3 small guys that I'm like, you know what, I'm rolling with.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's what's so fun about this situation. Because again, I mean, I go back to you know when you watch the NFL,
and I don't mean to cut you off, and that's exiting out. I'm not considering Clemson
like
Tyson, Antonio Williams.
Tony Williams, yeah.
I'm not considering him small wide
receiver. No, yeah, he's like, I think he's like 6 foot, like 200.
Right
so he's a little bit bigger. But like, I mean, you look at the NFL today, and it's like, you know, I remember a scout told me years, like probably a decade ago. He was like, man, he said, from an offensive standpoint, like everything starts in high school. He was like, the innovation comes from high school. He said, we see high school do it. He said, then college is like maybe 3 years behind high school. He said, then the NFL is like 5 to 7 years, or close to 5 to 10 years behind college, because they are so stubborn to change and adapt to the ways that you see. It's just stubbornness.
I was at LSU and this was early on in my days, right? And I remember, man, it was an offensive coordinator, and I'm not gonna name his name, right? But good dude. Like, and it wasn't. I just don't want to put his name out there.
Yeah.
He had coached in the NFL, been offensive coordinator for 10, 15 years, and I was just like, Coach, I'm like, I got a question for you, and I was like, what is the difference between a NFL, because you know they say a pro style offense or NFL offense, right? I'm like, when you have a guy coming from college to the NFL, and he was like, well, the only difference is just that that's what the NFL coaches know how to coach. Like that's why they so it's to your point that they just simply don't adapt, right? Like they don't go and to give listeners some type of context. I've seen some of our coaches, like LSU coaches, go kind of pick the brains of other coaches, right? To like try to learn, because you're trying to get better at your craft, right? So you're talking about, okay, what are different ways to play cover 2 if I have trips? What are different ways to play cover 3? And you go and learn. The NFL and most of those coaches for a very long time, and we're finally starting to get the change, is that they're like, listen, we the cream of the crop, right? Why I have to go learn something else, make those players fit into our system?
Exactly.
Now, look what you've stripped the entire fan base of. Because look how fun this has been. Imagine Michael Vick running an actual offense like Lamar Jackson runs, right? We've been stripped of some really
Andy Reid did with him in Philly. We got that early in his career.
When Chip
he
Kelly
might be Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 100%. And Chip Kelly was rolling until he decided to get rid of every good football player.
Deshaun Jackson, all the big top players.
He was a guy that thought his scheme was better than the players. Like nope, it don't work like
that. That's such an NFL thing. You know what I mean? To where like I was like somebody in sources I have in Indianapolis said this Shane Steichen's like that. You know what I mean? Like he just believed, okay, Daniel Jones gonna be able to run this up. Like, yeah, they beat Miami. Miami's probably gonna end up firing their head coach, and Tua's probably not gonna be there after this year. Like, yeah, that's a throw the dynamite in there, light it, and we all run and let it just blow everything up like the cartoons. Is like we'll come back and pick the pieces up and rebuild. But yeah, like there's a lot of coordinators like that. And when you get guys like what I'm seeing in the NFL now is them being more willing to use guys to where it's like, okay, a lot of motion and some manufactured touches was frowned upon 15 years ago. Oh, he's not running a standard wide receiver route tree. I can't use him. Nowadays, they're using these guys more. and a Deion Burks who can do pretty much all of it, run routes from a standard wide receiver route tree, but also you could use him in some of those manufactured touch situations. Sunday Night Football, we saw Zay Flowers absolutely torch the Buffalo Bills secondary in just different ways on how they got him the ball out in space. Not just like, screens and stuff, but like the motion into the over route, different things like that, like getting him free releases, stuff like that. We see it with the Giants. They do it with Malik Neighbors. I'm like, you get Malik Neighbors with a full head of steam on a flat-footed corner from 7 yards off. Seems like a very good idea for the offense. It feels like hell for the DB. Like, I got to try and change directions with a guy that's running full speed with his level of movement skills. No, like Deion Burks is, to me, is the type of receiver the NFL is trending towards, and not saying they're phasing out the X. Like, no, teams still need the traditional X, but you don't have to just get the ball to the traditional X. You get these guys that can move around and play all three positions, line up in the backfield. The Giants did that with Malik Neighbors last year. Line him up in the backfield, get him up on a safety or a linebacker. It was like easy money, Daniel Jones. Yep. Dump it off. Like, let him go make plays. Deion Burks has first-round potential, and I hope that him and John Mateer continue to cook, because if so, it's going to be hard to deny this young man a first-round grade, Keith.
Yep, 100%. With DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, we're bringing back an old one, but a good one, guys. And that's basically the NFL draft storylines. We're going to talk about it, guys. Even though it's only week one of the NFL season, what teams already kind of look like they need to be looking at quarterback? We'll talk about that and what teams are probably hoping these quarterbacks start taking some steps forward on tomorrow's show. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.